Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome to Back to Reality.
And I'm Danielle, and we are going to be talking about The Housewife and the Hustler, the ABC original news story on Erica Girardi and Tom Girardi. It says ABC News Originals goes inside the real life legal drama facing the husband of Real Housewives Beverly Hills cast member Erica Jane, legal titan Tom Girardi. Once considered a crusader of justice, Girardi now stands accused of embezzling from the victims he swore to protect. So, if you want to watch this, it's on Hulu. It's actually really good. I suggest giving it a watch. Um, it starts out by talking about um, how they think that he was taking the money to put back into the Erica Jane business, like that persona.
Well, I loved the part where in the beginning he says, I had, he says, I had $80 million, and then he goes, $50 million in cash.
Yeah, but that's all gone.
It's all gone.
And then he said, and he had
In
another
cash.
50 million. Yeah, and he had another 50 million in stocks that
Yep.
were gone. Who spends $1 billion? He should have been set for life and then some. $1 billion just gone. That's not including what Erica makes on the show, doing her Broadway, her songs, all that stuff. So,
Right.
and also we found out that her glam squad cost her $40,000 a month, I believe. That's
Wow.
insane. Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy.
40K a month. So, and they're assuming that he was stealing from his clients to put into Erica's business, but she had no clue. So, um, she had no idea. So, and they called him Mr. LA Law, Mr. Lawyer, fights for the little guy. He was
Oh, yeah. He had power.
yeah.
He worked on some of the biggest cases and settlements that
Like
we've heard of. Yes, exactly. And that one was 333. What was it? $333 million settlement.
I believe so. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So
And do you know that Erica was born in 1971? I got a kick out of this because that makes her 50 years old, guys.
she does not look 50. She doesn't
No.
look near
But I
50.
guess if I was spending that kind of money, I wouldn't either. But let us say before we forget, because we did forget on our last video, any of the opinions in this video are strictly ours. We are not
alleged for entertainment purposes only.
correct.
Our opinions don't come for us.
Yeah.
Oh, also, please subscribe. We're a brand new channel. This is only our second video. Like, hit the notification bell so that way you get notifications for all the videos. And leave a comment down below. Let us know how you feel about this subject.
Right. And if there's any shows that you might want us to cover, leave that down there too. We're open to suggestions.
Any shows, any drama, any tea, anything like that.
Yep.
So, she was born in 1971. Apparently, she had always wanted to be a movie star or TV star. And when she was 18, she moved to LA to pursue that and became a go-go dancer at Shakers, and that's where she met Tom Girardi.
Lucky.
He was taken by her. He really liked her. And they ended up getting married in the year 2000. And apparently 300 of their closest friends were there. Who has 300 friends, let alone closest friends?
I don't even think I know 300 people, so I don't know.
Me neither. So, yeah, he was very powerful. Let's see. Judges ran to him like a puppy dog. Like he would be sitting there at a bar and ask the judge to come over, and they would just bolt over.
They would go to him to
Yep. Yeah, he helped judges get appointed. He was very, very powerful, and that's why a lot of people went to him with their cases, especially like class action suits, stuff like that, where there was injuries or anybody was wronged, stuff like that.
If any of you are Danielle Staub fans, she's on this documentary. Yes. Mm-hmm. I thought she sounded like she was slurring her words a little bit. I know you didn't hear that. Maybe it's just me.
She might have been, but I didn't notice it if she was. But yeah, she is on there. That was nice to see. She looks actually better though. Her hair is lighter. She looks like she put on a little weight. Um, let's see. Oh, in 2007, um, that's when Erica decided she wanted a music career, and she went to Tom and said, "I want you to invest in this so I can become Erica Jane." So that's where that came from. That's probably the beginning of when he started going. Oh, I know he had to been going broke way before that because even investing in her wouldn't be $1 billion. There's just no way.
Right. I don't know. It depends on how many shows she had with that glam team.
That's true. That's true. So, and her glam team goes with her everywhere. Like even on one of the Real Housewives trips, she took her glam team. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
Several seasons back. So I don't know.
If only. So then we come to the first client that is covered in this documentary,
That was
Joe Gomez.
Rusa Gomez, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that was in his thing happened on September 9th, 2010, and it
a
was
gas line in his neighborhood exploded
yeah.
and caught his house on fire, and he was stuck inside
His
with a friend. They were just sitting watching TV, and he got stuck inside, and he got burned on 80 to 90% of his body.
yeah, third-degree burns. His lungs were burnt. He had to have several surgeries, and he will have to have surgeries for the rest of his life because of this accident. Um,
Right.
and his wife, I believe it was his wife, Jessica, she actually died in the fire. She was in a shed and burnt to death and died.
Now, it wasn't clear. I don't think, unless we both missed it, because we watched this together, and we did question it during the documentary, but we're not sure if this was his girlfriend or his wife or just a friend, because his mother and her mother are best friends and have been
And they
since
know, yeah,
childhood.
and they've known each other their entire life. So we couldn't figure out if she was his wife, girlfriend, friend, but they were connected in some way. And she
Right.
died in the fire as well in a shed. So
They
there was
found her in the 2 days later in the
yeah,
neighbor's shed. They found
two
her.
days later, and her mom actually went and saw her, and she just was
Ugh,
devastated. She said she was so pale. I don't know if I could have went and looked. I don't know.
no, I know.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't think I
I
could
don't
have.
think I could have either.
But I always say, if I ever lost, one of my children, that you would have to like put me in an institution,
Oh
because
yeah,
I know I would lose it.
yeah, I would too. Definitely. I know I would just because of like miscarriages and stuff I've had, like full term when I lost the twins, and that I didn't even get to meet them in person. So I know before
Yeah.
my kids that are here, I would just be dead. I'd be gone.
Hmm. I
Um,
can't even imagine the heartache that these. Oh, I don't know.
mm-mm. So, and then the plastic surgeon that's helping Joe is Michael uh, Kubok, and he's done several surgeries. He's doing them all pro bono.
And
Uh,
just at the time of the filming, he had 5 or 6 surgeries coming up.
yeah.
And like you said earlier, he will be getting surgeries his whole life.
Yes. And so the mothers decided to come together and start a lawsuit. And so they hired Girardi because he's known for this stuff, the most like popular lawyer, the best for getting this stuff done. And when they hired him, I thought it was odd that he gave them his resume and then magazines with post-its on the pages where the articles for him were. I found that so odd. So,
He was just tooting his own horn.
yeah, tooting his own horn, I guess. So then, and he actually wins and gets a settlement. Now, when you get a settlement, you get the money from the people that lost. It goes into a trust fund. You're not allowed to touch that money except for your fees. You can take your fees out of it, but then it has to stay in that trust fund for 3 months to make sure everything goes through. There's no appeals or whatever. After that, then you give it to the client that won.
Now we should go back. Kim, which is the mother of the girl that died in the fire with him,
Hmm.
she ends up helping with the case, and she ends up working in the Girardi
Oh yeah.
Keese law firm
Yeah.
during this.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
was there for a long time. Oh, and when that settlement is in the trust fund, if you do touch it, you will be disbarred. That's a big no-no. You don't ever take money out of that trust fund except for your fees.
right.
And apparently that's what he did. Uh, so he asked them, well, first he asked them to put, if with their settlement, after the 3 months was up, he asked them to invest, to put their money in an investment that he knew was solid. They would get 6 times their money back. So, of course, they trusted him and they did this.
I mean, they thought, first when they got Girardi as their attorney, they thought our legal worries are over.
Right.
He knows what he's doing. He's going to win this case, and
Fights for the
you know
solution. Yeah.
exactly. Did not go as planned.
They had no reason not to trust him when he asked them to invest this money. Um, but then when it was time for the payments to come out, they never got any statements on the investment. He never sent them any information about this investment, nothing. And then when it was time for the payments, they would call. He would avoid their calls. He'd find the answer and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, it'll be there." So then sometimes he would send them the check the next month. Sometimes he wouldn't. It just depended. So they started getting suspicious. Um, 3 months later, he was supposed to pay, and he called a meeting instead.
He never sent them any sort of statements on their money.
Mm-mm,
Nothing.
nothing at all. And so they, were like, "Where's our money?" Rightfully so. And he was blaming this judge for it all, saying, "Oh, well, the judge said, you're too young to get all this money at once. No, he's not approving you this money because it was in a trust, which you don't do that. Once they win and the time limit's up, they get their money. Then you can't delegate where their money goes to, like your power of attorney or something. That's just not how it works."
And the way he would talk to them when they would call and say, I didn't get my check, and he would say, "Oh, I know you're frustrated. Please don't be mad at me.
Yeah, I'm so
You know, I'm
frustrated too.
I'm really a good guy."
I'm
And
working my butt off
meanwhile,
to get your money back, to figure out what
right,
went on.
I'm working like a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But he
uh,
wasn't giving them any of the money.
right, none at all. And then later on, what was Joe's mom's name? Kathy. Kathy, the mom of Jessica, right? No,
No, Kim was the mom of Jessica.
so Kim's or Joe's mom, Kathy, later on, her son Paul died in a motorcycle accident. Um, and
No,
so,
That was Kim. That was Kim's son, Jessica's brother. I believe, right?
yes, yes, it was. You're right, because she had lost two. Okay. So, Paul died in a no, it was Kathy. It was Kathy.
That would have been Joe's brother, though.
Yeah, it was Joe's brother. Here, let me look. Let me just be sure, guys. Hang on 1 second. Yeah. Hold on.
Sorry for the pause, guys.
Yeah, just 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, so Joe's brother Paul died in a motorcycle accident, and his mom didn't want to use Tom Girardi because she knew she'd already had these bad suspicions. But since he was such a name in the industry, no one would go against him. No one wanted to take a case from him. So she had no choice but to use him yet again for this lawsuit
Right.
against the motorcycle accident. Um, and the sad
And
thing,
as far as going to anybody because they weren't getting their money and they were suspicious something was going on or whatever.
Right.
They couldn't go to anybody. He had too much power
Yeah.
and knew everyone, and everyone,
Hmm.
was like indebted to him. And
District
yeah,
attorneys, judges, lawyers, there was nothing they could do. So she had to file with Tom because she was choiceless. Um, let's see. And then January of 2017 was the last time Tom ever made a payment to them, and they never got their full money. And the sad thing is that Joe had bought a house because he's like, "Oh, I get this settlement. My house burnt down in this fire. I'm going to buy a house." And now he's probably going to have to sell that house because it's going to be a long time before they ever see any money, because it's going to be Tom was broke. He didn't have any of his $1 billion anymore. So they're going to have to sell all of his assets to get the money.
and meanwhile, Tom is telling these people that the judge, which was Judge Pinelli,
Yes, Pinelli.
he was saying that he had his okay to hang on to the money. That Judge Pinelli has seen too many young people go through their money too quickly, and so as protection for Joe, they were going to put this into a trust, and then Girardi Keese would be responsible for paying out every month.
Right. But he never he rarely paid. And also
Right.
um and the thing is, Edward Pinelli did make a statement, and he said that he had no clue this was going on. He was completely unaware of Girardi telling them this, because he would have never said that. That's not how it works. You don't hold on to
Right.
money. So yeah. He didn't want to give the money up. Oh, and he would tell him, he'd call him and say, "Are you mad at me? You're a bitchin' guy, man. You're a bitchin' guy. You're real cool." So he wanted to make sure they weren't mad at him in any way, which I don't know how they couldn't be mad at him
Right.
stealing their money. So
Right.
I don't know. It's just insane. Um, oh, and then come to find out, when they went and after these two moms came together, figured this out, and then came forward with it, come to find out 20 years ago, there had been rumors of non payments from Girardi. But since it was just one here and there, it was like, they just took it as, oh, it's just a disgruntled client that's trying to cause trouble. They're trying to stir up stuff. Because he was so well known and popular and fought for the little guy, nobody ever thought it was possible. And the bar did make a statement saying they made a mistake and they need to figure out a way that this doesn't happen again.
Right.
Because over 40 years now, he should have been disbarred.
So then on election day of last year, November 3rd,
Mhm.
the news broke of Erica going to file for divorce.
Yeah, she filed for divorce on election night. So,
Right.
yeah.
And Kim and Kathy basically put all their efforts into Joe's case
Mhm.
because Jessica and the other son
All, yeah, we're dead.
were both gone, and Joe needed this money for
Right.
his surgeries and his medical care.
Mhm. Yep. So they put it all into him, which means when they do finally sell everything, all his assets, he will be first in line to get his money that he's owed, because
Right.
they started the ball rolling. Everybody else
Right.
is secondary.
So they did seek other counsel,
Mhm.
and through that, Girardi agreed that he would make $1 million payments to them.
Yeah, he said he would pay them 12 million total. He would start with a mil, and then the second payment would be 2 million. He only ever paid the 1 million. They never saw a dime after that.
Right. So Erica gets subpoenaed,
Mhm.
but because of COVID and everything getting shut down and delayed and everything else, at the time of the taping for the documentary, Erica had yet to be deposed.
Yeah, she's never been deposed ever.
Right. So I don't know. We'll have to find out where that stands now,
Mhm.
since it's airing.
Yeah, I don't know if the case is over now, or what's happening. Oh, and also he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's now, and they think that's going to be his defense in this whole lawsuit, because
Right.
the Alzheimer's got to
That
him,
he wasn't
right mind.
right.
And then there was also a Chicago lawyer sued Tom for being a fraud. That has not come. We have no conclusion on that yet. but he is being sued by a Chicago lawyer for fraud.
And he was also the attorney for orphans and widows that their families were lost in the Lion Air crash. So these these widows, these orphans, they never got their money either.
And they're having to watch it being flaunted on Real Housewives,
Right.
spending all this money, which she had no clue. She didn't know not to flaunt it. But I mean, that's what the show's about, rich women that flaunt their money.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's one thing they made um a huge deal of, was how they flaunted the money. And then I don't remember what the victim's name was. It says Hasnati. Tom represented the son, but they never received their full settlement payments, and that had to do with the
Right.
line crash as well.
Right. And there was he had 3 siblings, so it was 4 kids who they lost their mother in the crash.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they never saw it.
Mm-mm. Never. And then Judge Durkin has frozen all of Tom's bank accounts, all of them. So now people are wondering: is Erica in trouble? Did she know? There's no proof she know. I don't believe she did know. I really
I
don't.
don't feel like she did either. I
Um,
think that if she knew, she wouldn't be
she wouldn't.
out flaunting the money and the glam squad and
I don't
you
think
know
I don't think she would have even still been on the show had she known what was going on. I think she would have divorced him a long time ago. She might have still been on the show, but I think she would have divorced him long before now. I feel like as soon as she found out, she filed.
right. I don't think she knew, because she Erica just demands attention when she walks into a room. So
Very
she
honest.
would not have drawn so much attention to herself.
And that's her thing. Her shtick is that she's like the most honest housewife. She's always one that will speak her mind and say the truth no matter what. And she always wants to hear the truth from other people. So I don't know. I just don't feel like she knew.
Right. I don't either.
So at the time of at the time of the filming, they had closed down his law firm, which means there's 9,000 clients and 900 cases with no lawyers now, and nowhere to go because of all this.
And he is now under a conservatorship. His brother is in charge of all of his money or assets, or anything that is left from Girardi Keith's law firm.
Which probably has a lot to do with the Alzheimer's, and a lot of people thinking
Right.
defense. Um, Also, the state bar is pursuing disbarment. There's a case with that. And then apparently most of the stuff that he gave Erica was gifts, so that's why they can't go after her or her money, because she wasn't compliant or consistent as far as anybody knows. It's not legal property since it was gifts, and she is still on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. There's no evidence that she's leaving the show. Everything still indicates that she's going to keep continuing to do it even after this season. Someone had started a rumor saying that she refused to be on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy Cohen squashed that rumor and said it wasn't true at all.
She needs the show now.
Yeah, definitely. NBC Universal, which owns Bravo and does the show, did not comment. They reached out to them for a comment. They refused. They did not comment at all. Kathy and Kim, who are the best friends, their children are the ones that was Joe that was in the fire, and the girl that died, Jessica. They set up a website for victims of Tom to help them all to get help and get the money they deserve through the selling of all his assets and everything. And Joe will need surgeries for the rest of his life. And he will always have scars. He wears them with pride now, though he says he even took off his shirt at the end. And it was kind of shocking what see it. And this isn't in any way to be like shade or anything like that, but it kind of looks like how you would imagine, like chicken skin when you're when you butter up a chicken. That's kind of what it looks like. And he still will have to have lots more surgeries, and I'm sure it'll get better, but he will always have scars. And
right. I can't imagine, because there's not much healthy skin there for grafts or what have
Right.
you.
You probably have to have donor skin at this point. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming. I don't know
Right.
for sure, but
Yeah. I don't know either.
um, yeah. So Tom still lives in their home, and Erica moved out last fall before she filed for divorce.
I mean, they got this documentary out quick
They did.
because,
They had to have started immediately as soon as the news broke last fall.
right. And what was it? I have December 2020, lawyer files a suit against Girardi, representing several of the widows and orphans from the plane crash, the Lion Air. So I mean, you know, that was only 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So they got this put together and out on Hulu quick.
Yep, they sure did. And then September 23rd of 2020 was Tom's depo. So, which I don't understand. I don't know if they're just not going to depose Erica or what, because even though with the pandemic, Tom was still deposed in September of 2020, which was after
Right.
the pandemic started. So I wonder if they just found out there was no evidence for her. I mean, what could she say if she had no idea? You know what I mean? What
Right.
could she put into the case? So
Right.
I feel like they just found that wasn't an avenue to go down. I don't know though. That's just my stipulation. That's my opinion, allegedly, for entertainment purposes.
Right. It's very similar to the Judice
It is.
saga.
Yeah, it is. Only he was not paying his taxes. He actually got if you guys would look, I know that's really old tea, but if anybody's not up to date on that and would like a video on it, let us know. But he actually got deported back to Italy because of everything he did, and so he rarely sees his kids now, his 4 daughters,
Right.
unfortunately. So yeah, so that's all we have so far, but it's still an ongoing case, so we will definitely keep up to date on it. And then
Right.
next week we should hear something from Erica, since this week's episode was to be continued right when she walked into the party.
Ah!
So frustrating. So frustrating.
So, leave us a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. If you haven't already subscribe and hit that bell so you know when we put more videos out. And leave us a comment if there's any other shows that you would like us to cover. Let us know.
Or your opinion on the story, anything like that. And everyone have
Right.
a great day. We will definitely be back tomorrow with something else. So
And again, anything that was discussed here is just our opinions.
allegedly for entertainment purposes only.
Correct. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.